One of Marvel Comics' most popular characters, Daredevil, gained notoriety after Netflix and Marvel teamed up to produce 3 seasons of gripping superhero narratives centered around him. With the news that Daredevil Born Again will debut in 2024, Marvel has the potential to further honor the character and his journey. Which characters do you expect to show up? Watch this video to find out why DC needs to worry about this Marvel series. First on the characters we hope to see appear in Daredevil, we have Foggy Nelson. Without Foggy Nelson, Matt Murdock's best friend and business partner, he would not be as well known or fascinating. If Disney and Marvel can entice Eldon Nelson to return to the franchise with his endearing charisma and likability, they will receive bonus points. Matt's best friend from law school, Foggy, stayed their friend even after they graduated, inspiring them to maintain their legal partnership. Matt's emotional compass is Foggy, and Daredevil wouldn't be the same without him. Next is Karen Page. Karen Page, portrayed by Deborah Ann Wool in the Netflix series, is the third person on the Dream Team. While working as Nelson and Murdock's secretary, Karen became Matt and Foggy's friend, teammate, and business partner. One of Matt's many love interests, Karen is one of the most intriguing characters in the Daredevil universe. Undoubtedly, fans would also enjoy seeing how that bond develops in Born Again. Next is Bullseye. The frighteningly precise and damaging antagonist, Bullseye, was first portrayed by Benjamin Poindexter in the 3rd season of the Netflix series Daredevil. Wilson Bethel excelled in the role of Dex, depicting the damaging mind of Dex's Wilson Fisk subtly controlled him. Bullseye and his story added a darker tone to an already grim drama. Bullseye's storylines were mostly resolved by the 3rd season, but when he was still able to make another appearance, he would be loved to be seen wearing his outfit and playing the evil character that fans couldn't get enough of. Next character we expect is White Tiger. Another of Daredevil's buddies, Angela Del Toro, would be an excellent addition for the new program. She first appeared in the comics as an FBI agent who was obsessed with learning the reasons behind Matt's actions after discovering that he was Daredevil. Later, she received the White Tiger amulet from her uncle, which gave her unique abilities and enabled her to comprehend firsthand why vigilantes like Daredevil decide to fight crime in the manner that they do. Next is Typhoid Mary. Typhoid, one of the most intriguing and frightening adversaries in Daredevil. Mary, who suffers from dissociative identity disorder, has 3 internal selves, one of whom is a ruthless serial killer. Iron Fist depicted Mary as a villain, but most fans weren't happy with that iteration. She should be considered one of the comic book characters to readapt because of her mutant abilities and mental health difficulties. She is a must-see character in the new show. Next is Elektra Natchios, one of Matt's key love interests. Elektra has served as both an ally and an enemy to him throughout the comics. Elodie Young played her in the 2nd season of Netflix's Daredevil, which featured her as a major character, since the assassin was depicted as having a negative influence on Matt and was finally killed off in the Netflix series. Many fans were dissatisfied with her storyline. Elektra might also be revamped to be more comparable to the comic version of the assassin, since Daredevil Born Again is planned to be a soft reboot of Cox's Daredevil. Next character we expect is Gladiator. Another must-see figure for the next series is Melvin Potter, particularly if Matt Gerald agrees to return as the Kind Giant. Gladiator is a superhero who was once a supervillain and now works as a costume designer in comic books. The Netflix series took a different tack on portraying him as a competent suit maker who was tricked into working for Wilson Fisk despite having mental disabilities. He finally switches to working only for Matt, but by season 3, he is once more involved with Fisk, which results in his incarceration. This may be an intriguing starting point for him to establish himself as the antagonist Gladiator in Born Again. Next is Mr. Fear. Although Mr. Fear has been portrayed by a few different people throughout the Daredevil comics, Lawrence Cranston's portrayal would be ideal for Born Again. Matt's law school classmate Larry has had a vendetta against Matt ever since. Mr. Fear decides to eliminate Matt and Daredevil after learning that they are the same person with his fear gas. Given that he represents a threat from Matt's past and hasn't yet been adapted, Mr. Fear would make a fantastic addition to the antagonists in Born Again. Next is the Defenders. Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist form the motley crew of the superheroes known as the Defenders. Based in New York, it only made sense to make a crossover program with all of these characters since Marvel already has a Netflix series for each. Some people weren't fans of the Defenders, but the characters are all interesting in their own right, and it would be fun to see them work together once more in Daredevil Born Again. The final character expected to show up is Echo. Kingpin's adopted daughter Maya Lopez, also known as Echo, was born into the family. She was taken under Kingpin's wing after her father's passing and is Native American and deaf. While Alaqua Cox will star in her series Echo, which will premiere in 2023, we would like it if she made an appearance on Daredevil and vice versa. Alaqua Cox played Hawkeye in the MCU's Hawkeye to much acclaim. Up next, why DC needs to worry about Daredevil Born Again. Due to the prior series' distinct tones from the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Marvel fans were dubious about Matt Murdock's comeback in Daredevil Born Again. Marvel could ultimately overtake the DC Universe in the one area where it has been a clear winner, though if the studio shocks fans and takes a different course, people controlling the franchise are willing to dirty up the MCU brand a little as it enters its second decade. One is the guarantee that Deadpool 3 will maintain its R rating for the widespread violence and profanity. Another is the dark, violent tone of the original Marvel Studios adaptation of the Defenders cast of characters. The CW's all-ages programming is the most popular live-action, shared universe series from DC on the streaming side, though there are unquestionably more mature stories. The two most common examples with unique comic book charms are Titans and Doom Patrol. There is also Peacemaker, a sequel to the Suicide Squad situated in the DC movie timeline. Marvel's television output, especially in the last 5 years, is similar to its cinematic output. Marvel Studios may finally be able to compete with DC for that audience if Daredevil Born Again results in more TV MA content. Up next, Marvel and DC took the same approach to TV for different reasons. Disney did not own the rights to every character in the early 21st century Marvel television series, contributing to its fragmented nature. Standout TV shows like Legion on FX and Gifted on Fox were made possible by this. Now that Sony is the only owner of the Marvel character rights, it can continue to tie all the stories together, but aside from Batman, Warner Bros. Has long maintained the rights to all DC characters. Its constant drive, nevertheless, was to keep all of its various universes hidden. This implies that parents can watch HBO Max once they go to bed while the kids watch the CW. They didn't go too far even with the TVMA nature of the Marvel television series on Netflix. Titans and Doom Patrol make the most of this lack of control on violence, vulgarity, and occasional nudity. At its most basic, the Netflix series featured Situations, a program that could easily air on a channel like FX, which Disney now owns. It would shock audiences the same way the Netflix series shocked them when it originally appeared if Disney CEO Bob Iger's decision is to push Daredevil Born Again in the opposite direction, going into more adult entertainment. Other truly R-rated entertainment exists, namely The Boys and Invincible, albeit to a lesser extent, but neither of these franchises provides the non-cynical iteration of these characters that DC and Marvel do. Marvel Studios is doing what it does well, and DC gives those who want it more mature content. However, if Marvel also provides those choices, a new front in the never-ending conflict between Marvel and DC would open up. Finally, the DC Universe's only edge over Marvel Studios is its disconnected nature. James Gunn, the new co-CEO of DC Studios, wants a consistent story across all platforms, from movies to video games. Yet DC's distinct side universes are its greatest asset. Gunn acknowledges this and assures fans on Twitter that this practice won't change anytime soon. The Arrowverse shows that DC can tell a continuous story, but it is not required. These darker, more mature movies like Todd Phillips' Gotham and Matt Reeves' Batman Begins show how DC adapted successful television shows for the big screen. It was the right decision, as evidenced by the discrepancy in box office revenue between the Batman and Black Adam. Gunn should be concerned if Daredevil Born Again and Deadpool 3 show Marvel Studios treading on that ground. How well would Peacemaker fare in a Punisher revival, maybe acting as a lone Thunderbolts agent? Marvel Studios' universe is vast. Even if it perfects the recipe for adult-oriented entertainment, it's so overwhelming that it could be frightening for a fan to begin, especially given the ambiguous canon of some episodes, like the Netflix series or the MCU-centric Agent Carter and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. When fans know that Doom Patrol or Titans is the only thing they need to see to get a goofy but dirty comic book narrative, it can be much more alluring for them to turn on those shows. Of course, Marvel Studios may be diminishing its ambition to maintain a direct connection between everything, the MCU had both Werewolf by Night and Moon Knight, two historical comic book characters, but there was no clear connection between their stories and those of other characters. If the studio succeeds in telling more mature storylines, it will offer fans something they can only receive from DC for now. With Marvel trying to change their tone in their movies, the DC should be concerned, especially with Daredevil Born Again coming out in 2024. Let us know what you think in the comments section. Please also do not forget to like and subscribe to this channel while you're down there. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.